Okay, this is my recipe for pico de gallo. It'll probably be the best you'll ever taste. So what we got here is the Roma tomatoes are probably the best ones I like to use because they got a pretty firm skin. So what I do is I just cut them in half, take a paring knife, and V out where the stem is, so that when you take the seeds and stuff out, it'll all come out as one piece. That's the easiest way to do it. Do the other one. You want to take this stuff out because the pico itself creates a lot of juice on its own, and you don't want all this extra stuff in there or it'll be too watery. And then what I'll do is I'll just take the half, and this is the best gadget in the world. People will think you've been doing this stuff, you've been working all day on this, but this has 1/4 inch grates in it for 1/4 inch dice, and when this flattens out inside the thing there, it'll end up with a 1/4 inch thickness, so all the pieces will be neat. So I can smash it in there. Done. So that's all the tomato. Now for the cucumber, what I got here, they actually had Mexican cucumbers. So first you want to peel it, and then I got a serrated edge knife, which I find nice because it doesn't slip off the food. But what I do is cut it in half, and then take, again, a spoon and get rid of all these seeds and stuff, because you don't want your pico to be mushy. And this just changes the texture of it altogether. You want the flavors to be crisp, and you want the pieces to be kind of the same size. So I'll get rid of all these seeds. And then we'll put it through the machine also. By the way, I bought that thing at Bed Bath & Beyond, and I really use it a lot because it's easy to dice stuff, and I can use the knife, but why bother? It comes out so much nicer with this thing. So I'm going to cut these so that they fit under the blade now. Send them through. What you want also when you're making pico, you want to measure all your ingredients. You want to weigh them actually, because it's all by proportion that I find is the best. Let me send these through. And the proportions I like to use are about 1.5 pounds of the diced tomatoes, 3/4 of a pound of the diced onion, 3/4 of a pound of the diced cucumber, and then you want, according to taste, I put in a couple of ounces of jalapeno. We'll get to that in a minute. Let me just finish this up. And then some salt, which will draw out all of the natural juices of the vegetables and stuff. And then after they come out, they'll actually go back in. So that's why this has to be made way ahead of time, so that all the flavors can melt together. Preferably let it sit overnight in the refrigerator, and the next day you're going to be surprised at how good it is. Okay, now the onions are a little different because we have the 1/4 inch dice, so we want to put like a 1/4 inch on this, so that when they go through there, they're kind of the same. Put these in now. Finish that up. Looks like it hurts, but it really doesn't. Let me see if I can find another bowl here. And if you guys don't have a scale, you can pick one up at Bed Bath & Beyond. This is the one I have. It's real cheap, they're only like 10 bucks. But they're especially handy when you bake because you want to measure your ingredients by weight, especially flour and stuff. Most good baking recipes will have all the ingredients by weight. I think that should be good. Now the jalapenos, let me show you how I did those. Cut the top off. We'll cut down the middle. And then take a paring knife. Now you don't want any of this white stuff because it's going to be really bitter. So I just trace around it with the knife and then cut around underneath and it's gone. Get rid of the seeds and everything. Do one more. Get rid of the seeds. Okay. Send that through the machine now. Cut them in half. Again, this is to taste, but you'll find that by adding a couple of ounces, it'll be nicely balanced without being too over the top. For people who like heat, they can put 6 or 8 ounces of this in there. So let's assemble this now. Okay. So I'm going to put, I'll put this on here. It's a lot easier. So first we're going to need 1.5 pounds of the tomato. So on a lot of scales, you turn it on and then you have to zero it out. They call it the tare weight, which subtracts the weight of the bowl, and then you just get the weight of the ingredients. So I'm going to add 1.5 pounds of this now. Wow, that's almost perfect. That's perfect. And that was about 10 tomatoes. So we'll put that in. Now we're going to add 3/4 pound of the diced onion. Okay, that's 12 ounces. And we're going to add 3/4 pound of the cucumber. That'll be put in there. And then we'll add, let me see. That's about 2 ounces of jalapenos. My family doesn't like things that hot. That's probably about 4 jalapenos. On the onions, that was probably 2 large onions. Okay, so now, let me get something big to put this in. And what you don't want to do is put it into a metal bowl because it'll react. So I'll put it in here. It's a little small, but actually that's too small. I'm doing good here. Let me see. We'll come back to something here. I used to have a lot of bowls. Here we go. Let's try this one. That's way better. Okay. Okay, now what we want to do to that, we're going to add some cilantro. So we'll just do like a chiffonade on this. Chef's knife for this one. And you want to add, about a quarter of a cup. That should work out good. And you want to add the juice of the lime. One. Okay, and then final ingredient, teaspoon of kosher salt. Now you want to use kosher salt. I use it for everything because it's a lot easier to work with. If you use table salt, you got to reduce it by 1/3 because it's so much more dense when you pour it. Like if you had a tablespoon of salt, it would be a tablespoon of kosher salt versus a teaspoon of table salt because it's so much more fine and it has so much more of a concentrated taste. So now what we'll do is mix all this up. You can see how beautiful it looks with all the colors and everything. And we'll put this in the refrigerator at least 4 hours, preferably overnight. And there you have it. Best pico de gallo in the world.